Hey everybody, I'm Dr. Plasma and I like the number 100. We're going to build a 10 by 10 today. I think we're approaching the end of the main elevator series. I think I'm going to stop around number 12. It starts getting more complicated after that. After that I'm going to start showing you some other shapes. We're going to do round ones and rectangular ones. It's going to be a whole bunch of fun. Let's go ahead and get started on this one. I'll show you how to do it. It should be pretty straightforward. One of the cool things is that we've actually made these big ones a little bit easier because they've got more room to move around and to place parts. And now we've got a fourth tier because of how many pistons we need. Let's go ahead and get started. So let's dissect a 10 by 10. First, you'll start with the piston elevator. We're going to add a cap on either side that just has a piston that it's pushing. And those being that far apart is going to allow us to add 4 more that are pushed out even further. And we'll be able to, on top of those 4 pistons, we're going to put one of these. Now, if you look closely, these are each of the 6 by 6. There's 6 pistons from the 9 by 9. The difference is what we're going to do is we're going to put them closer together and just take off the one that would touch both. So there'll only be 5 on each of them. And that gives us the 20 we need. And it'll be put together, it'll look like this. And this should be enough to be able to do an entire 10 by 10. The slime blocks are going to be very easy because of that, because they're all going to be in place. So you just have to build one block up, and then you can put up on your slime layer. And when you do that, you'll need one more block, so then it's 7 on each one. All right, let's go ahead and build one. So this is what you're going to need to build it. You're going to need 16 observers, 28 pistons, and 32 slime blocks. We're going to start with our base elevator, as we always do. We're going to put on either side of it a pair of observer pistons, like so. Stop it. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And these are going to be our little arms here. And we want to put the ones on the inside further back, like so. And so you're going to want to actually put on your observers first, would be my recommendation. You're going to make sure your observers are facing down. All right, now let's build the final piece. The final piece is going to be these. And we're going to put piston or observers on each of them. Here, and there, and there, and there, and there, and there. And so you're going to act as if you're going to put 6 on each of them. But there's going to be one here that you won't be able to place, and there's going to be one here on this one that you won't be able to place. So this is going to only have 5 on each, and that's going to result in the pistons that we need. There, 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 and there. You just do the 3 on each side, but not where they would touch both. And so now, let's go ahead and test it with some slime blocks. So I'm going to put these here. We want it to be aligned with our front. So it's going to be aligned right there. Now it's as simple as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you're thinking, you know that we're going to want to have 12 blocks total, so we need to have 7, which means we're going to need to place another block in front of each of these. Make sure you count to 5 there. That's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we are done. Except for the 7th block. 7 on each of them. Both on the front and on the back. Done. Let's see if it works. So we're going to grab some buttons to prime it. And we're going to want to cover all of these so that they all stop at the same height. Otherwise, you get weirdness when it comes to a stop and you might leave some behind. This is just a best practice for when you're testing it. That should be more than 10 blocks. And now, when we prime it with our bottom trigger, what we're going to do is we're going to prime all 8. Yep, 8. There's 8 on the top layer, because we have 20 we've got to push, and so it's getting pretty crazy. And that should be all of them. And then we're going to do the next layer, which has these 4. And you can see that that's pushed the next layer up. And then we're going to prime the 3rd layer. And now we can tell it to go. So congratulations, if you followed along, you've made a 10 by 10. So the next thing we're going to do is put the decor on it and hook it up so that it looks pretty. So this is what you're going to be needing, and the easiest way to do this is going to be to just put a single repeater between the layers and lay a bunch of redstone dust down. Put some pistons on the top layer. That's what I'm going to do anyway. So I'm going to actually hit the top layer like so by having a piston that can look upward or say hello upward like this. We're going to have one everywhere. Sometimes it helps to place another block down like this. And there is our 7, 8. Don't forget to take your blocks off. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So what you can do is you can layer, using pink today, layer redstone dust at the top, like so. And now, if you did so like this, you're going to have all you need for the top layer. And so the next layer is going to be down from here. I recommend going down from the middle just to keep your lengths on your redstone dust short. We're going to come down like this. What we are going to do is we are going to place some redstone dust directly under these. Now you might want to get rid of them so that they don't push things you don't want to push. But if you've got everything built up like this, they shouldn't be able to push anything. So you should be safe, because they would have to push all these blocks, to go ahead and actually put your dust down and it won't have any issues. Normally I would get rid of them and then put them back, but you're safe right here. And we're going to need a 3-tick delay because this is the next tier, and so we've got to wait on those pistons to move into place. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, like that. All right, and now we got to do the next layer, which is the one just above, and we're going to do that like so. You can build it around like this, but I'm actually going to make one modification to it, which is, remember, we're doing this layer, now is where we need to do our next repeater. So that's the second tier down, and this is the 3rd one. So I'm going to make one modification here, which is that if we put a block down like this, we can actually start it with another 3-tick delay, like so. And so you'll see we only had to use the 3 repeaters, one between each phase. And so if we did it correctly, this should be enough to start it. We'd have to start it from the back, but it would be enough to start it. And we can obviously wire this around to wherever we want. You think it works? It works. So for the top, you're just going to need to attach 20 pistons and 20 repeaters. That's all you really have to do. I'm going to take this off now that we're ready to build it. And we are going to place the pistons. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 9, 10. We'll do the same thing on the other side. If you want to test it, it can be beneficial to use a lever to leave these pistons on so they pull those blocks out of the way. But if you do that, be sure that you don't leave those on. Oh, you're also going to need redstone torches. My bad. That many. Because that's how many pistons we have. One of these days I might look into other ways of powering these. It's just much easier to visualize when you do it this way. One of the things you learn from not only redstone, but technology in general is sometimes simpler in terms of how easy it is to see what you're doing is more important than more efficient and cheaper. Which sometimes you want things cheaper in survival, but I'll tell you that sometimes the headache of having to debug and figure out why something is wrong and what weirdness is going on is not worth it. Sometimes, I mean, for example, do you want to try and save honey blocks and make it slightly more efficient, or just put a little bit more effort and actually have a honey farm? Honestly, the latter would probably save you more time than having to deal with headaches. I used to like to optimize things, but I learned that sometimes premature optimization is the root of all evil. Bonus points to you if you know who that's a quote from. So now we're done, and we are going to make it actually work. But that is all you really need to do. My advice, because now there's 4 phases, and you don't want these to pull back before it's ready to move down. So when we kick this, it's going to take 4 stages before it's ready to go. And so we want to make sure that it's actually ready to go. On some of the other ones I built, it was barely able to pull these out of the way in time. And if you want to be a little bit safer, you can do it this way. And so let's say we had a repeater here, just so that we can run a cable up to wherever we want our button. Let's say it was over here, for example. This is however you'd want to do it in your survival build. And then we're just going to say hello to it. And that's all there is. Like so. Make sure this reaches far enough. And you can do this with or without an observer. I like to put an observer here. But you can push and pull a block. That's really, if you want to do something crisp and pretty. So for example, I typically have a lighting block, and I will push that lighting block. So when it actually lets go. And this way, you can't tell where it is. So that's a neat little trick that I've been using. I've been leaving it simple just to show you how to basically do it. But if you wanted to switch it up, all you need to do is cause something to happen from this observer, and there's a lot of ways to do it. So let's test it. It should let go, and then it should go down. Oh, that's what I'm missing. Generally, you want to have your actual floor that you're going to be using. Just, you know, this is that floor that it's embedded in on the upper floor, and I'm just showing you can use whatever block you want. Testing. It works. And then on the bottom, if you want to use a block around it, you need to use glazed terracotta. Because otherwise, you're going to run into a problem, which is that these slime blocks need to slide past it. So you don't have to use obsidian, but you do want to use something that the slime blocks are not going to be upset at. Because the last thing you want to do is have it slide up one and then just come to a stop. And you're going to have to ask yourself what happened, and then you're going to have to move a whole bunch of blocks, which is not that big a deal when you're dealing with a small one, but as it gets bigger, it's going to get more of a headache. And so you know, in case I haven't already made it clear, it doesn't matter what you do before you get there. The number of ticks on the button is preferable. You would be careful with that number. I use the stone button because it sits for, I believe it's 15 ticks. You don't want to toggle it too many times. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, that'll reach. And I could have a button right here if I wanted. All right, that's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope I gave you enough following along to be able to make one yourself. Next video on elevators, we're going to do an 11 by 11. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.